This is an It Came From GenX video.
Well, it's that time again. It is time for It Came From GenX, the show based on three morons from Kenmore, Ohio. Good old Kenmore High School, and we are here to talk about life through the eyes of Gen Xers. Gen Xers. Blah. Yeah, talk much. I am Keith Porter.
Yeah, right. Line.
Yeah, line. Hello. Oh, yes. Talk about life through the eyes of Gen Xers. I am Keith Porter, along with Brian Fisher and Mike Skinner, aka Porterhouse Skin Bone and the Fish Bone, or just fish, whatever you like. So, welcome to our show. We are glad to have you. We are cranking them up there. What is this, 69, 70?
Something like that.
Yeah, pop
Getting
quiz
close.
on here. This is episode 69. 69.
Okay. I don't know
Insert
what I'll
joke
do if
here.
we get 100, guys. If we last that long, I'll just, I don't know, man. We're going to have a heck of a party, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
I
when's
think we
the
need
last
to.
time? When's the last time 69 was by your name anywhere for any reason?
Anyway, thank you for joining us, everybody. I so quit right now. I so quit. I'd like to apologize to everybody listening to the show in Germany, in Ireland, in America, at Suma, and in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, aka the motherland. And I have a quick message for a very special fan. Kayla Ramey, I want you to know your mother knows me. I know your mother. And I appreciate you thinking I'm a celebrity, but the truth is, I am. But that's not what's important. But I do know your mom, so thank you. All right, what's going on, fella? Skinner, how was your weekend, man?
Well, first of all, the only celebrity around here is you, and that's because of that damn bumblebee outfit you wear at football games. But
I'm very famous in your house for that.
Other than that, all very well. Like I was telling you guys in pre-show, it's a freaking zoo here at the Skinner household, but wouldn't know how it would be any other way.
Right.
We had a death in the family, and one of the kids with 4 grandkids had to move. They've moved in permanently here for a little while to try to get back on her feet and all that. But
they will.
Bittersweet, real quick. I want to kind of go down. Yesterday, June 12th, was 1 year anniversary of my accident. And I went through the day yesterday, didn't realize what day it was. You know, I had nothing going on business-wise with work or with the show. I got up this morning, I looked at the date, and I went, oh, wow. And I kind of got the eerie feeling going up and down.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Fisher doing the hands. For those that don't know, I had an accident with a table saw while building a room down in my basement, and had emergency surgery that day and then reconstructive surgery 5 days later. But all is well. You look at the hand now, it doesn't look any different until you get up close, of course. But no, I just want to reflect that it's good to be alive. I'm glad to be here. I had a full round of golf this past weekend. I was able to swing a club for 18 holes, and things can't be any better right now, truthfully.
Well, speaking of golf, we'll all be on the same golf course next week.
I heard rumor of that, and I have a message from Coach Coop.
Oh boy,
your ass better be there on Saturday. Is the message that I have.
I'm going to be there. You and I on a boat. We know what that's like. I don't know about us on the golf course together. That's not going to be good.
Well, we got Papa Skinner is going to be there too, so
okay.
We're going to have to be on our best behavior.
Great. All right, Fish, my man, how was your weekend, brother?
Very nice, thank you. Alan and I went to Lock 3 downtown Akron, saw a nice Fleetwood Mac tribute band, a lot of fun.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah, they're good. They play there every year, Fleetwood Mac, so I'll give them a shout out. So they do the circuit. And Saturday, buddy Dean, I do Convincing Idiots with, hosted him and his lovely girlfriend Megan, hosted a annual craft beer tasting event at their place in Barberton. Beautiful, beautiful day. Great day to be outside, enjoying the weather and friends, and Nick was there too, and just a great time. And his family, just like you guys, is just such nice people and a very welcoming, just a good group of people to be around. So great time. And then Sunday was kind of relaxing and chilling out and stuff like that. So just nice, fulfilling weekend.
Yeah, that's great. I had one as well. Probably fullest weekend I've had in a long time. It was great. Went down to Canton Friday and sat out by the fire all night long, and that was great. And Saturday, next week, Steele will be in California visiting his sister, my son Steele.
Very
So
good.
him and his girlfriend Amber took me out for Father's Day. It was just a beautiful afternoon. We sat out on the patio at the is it the Burntwood Tavern?
Burntwood Tavern.
Burntwood
Yep,
Tavern,
yep.
yep.
Oh man, excellent food.
Mm-hmm.
We got a great gift. It was a great afternoon. I came home, rested for a minute, and then I went and finally saw Doctor Strange 2.
Oh man.
With an old friend down at Tinseltown. So that was great. Sunday had a great day at church. Then went to rehearsal, played drums, and so it was just a full weekend. So it was really good.
Good.
All right. So let's get these things cooking. Fish, tell them where they can find the show.
All right. You might be listening to us on WMVU.org, Global Internet Radio, Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Just pull up their site, play live listen, and you can hear us right there, along with their other fine content, other great shows and music and all that for free. Listen to us whenever you feel like it on demand. We can be found on many major podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Verbal, Overcast, all that good stuff. Just pull up your platform of choice, give us a subscribe for free. As we publish new episodes, they'll pop in your podcast feed for you. Listen to us whenever you want to, free of charge. Links to all our social media, our YouTube channel, It Came From GenX, Facebook page, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. Two main places, our Linktree account. Just pull up Linktree, It Came From GenX, and simply a page with links to our social media and where you can listen to the show. Simple. And our website. If you go to one place, go to our website, itcamefromgenx.wordpress.com. All show information is there. Also links to where you can listen to us, links to current episodes, links to videos, promos, bios. And if you choose to sponsor the show, you can find our Patreon link through our website as well, or just pull up Patreon/itcamefromgenx.com. If you wish to get Keith like a shirt to wear underneath a vest or something like that, you're welcome to do that and give us a donation there if you want to.
Or colonic. Colonics ain't free.
Sure. Absolutely. So if you don't have to, but if you do, we appreciate it. Main thing you do though is tell a friend, like, share, subscribe, follow, rate, review, all that good stuff. It helps others find the show and helps us grow a little bit. So we appreciate your support out there. And we saw a new country, the Netherlands, picked up a somebody listened to us in another. So if you're listening to us in the Netherlands,
Welcome.
Welcome, and hope you stick around. So anybody listening, we appreciate it, and thank you. You know what? I'm going to give a shout out here as well. We had another fine podcast, Gen X Talk. They're a lot of fun, and they started following us on Twitter recently, comment on a couple of things here. So that's another great show to check out if you like
awesome,
Gen X Talk, and a lot of fun.
Check them out and get to know them. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
so, absolutely. Thanks for your support out there. We appreciate it.
All right. So, Fish mentioned that you could pull us up on demand. What he meant is some people have demanded that we stop doing this show.
That's true.
We're gonna keep on doing it anyway. All right. World
Pay us to stop.
news.
Pay us
Take
to
it away,
stop.
Skinner.
All right, so let's go back to 1984. We're out with our buddies in the streets, doing what we do best, playing, whatever it is. You leave in the morning. If you don't come back for lunch, you don't eat. Don't come back for dinner, you don't eat. Your ass better be in by the time the street lights come on, right? Does that sound familiar?
You're very familiar.
Yeah.
That's how I was, raised from very young. Fast forward to 2022. Let's go out in a car with a bunch of teenage boys from upper side of Akron. Let's go to downtown Akron and let's go play a prank on 3 gentlemen playing basketball in the middle of downtown Akron. Guess what happens? They didn't perceive that prank very well with this. First of all, I'm not going to make any joke about this story because it really pisses me off, to be honest. First of all, our prayers and our thoughts go out to the Ethan, I think it's Liming or Liming family, Liming. This 17-year-old young man lost his life on June 2nd due to a prank over a water gun. There was 4 guys in his car, one of them being Ethan, running around town with these these water gel pellet guns. They're called, I forget what they're called. They're orange, but they shoot little white gel water pellets.
Right.
They decided to go up on this basketball court in front of the I Promise school in downtown Akron. 3 gentlemen were playing basketball. Now, this was at 10:45 at night. So they shot these kids with these guns, and a fight ensued after the kids, or the guys, the gentlemen, they're of age. They're 20, 19, and 21 years old. Once they realized that it wasn't a real gun going off in their direction, they decided that they were going to take matters in their own hands. A fight ensued, and a 17-year-old man lost his life. I should say 17-year-old kid. He's not a man yet till he's legally 18 years old. My understanding is that he had blunt force trauma to the head. So my understanding, he was stomped to death. And they just arrested the 3 gentlemen that didn't like the prank over the weekend. Mr. Deshaun Stafford, 20, a Tyler Stafford, 19, and their cousin Donovan Jones, 21, are all charged with murder and felonious assault.
Wow.
$1 million bail or bond has been issued for them. When we were kids, we pranked all the time. You pranked your friends, your neighbor. You went around your neighborhood. You pranked your friends with water balloons, water guns. Hell, we had BB guns that we shot at each other and shot each other in the ass. Yeah, it hurt for a second, and it caught your attention, and you then figured out what you're going to do to get them back. Never once did I say, I'm going to kick the crap out of these people for doing this. Now, you're going to say, get off my lawn. I'm this old geezer. I'm the 50-something-year-old. What's the kids say? Okay, boomer, bullshit. What is wrong with society? How do we get from when we were kids goofing off in the neighborhood, pranking each other, to today, people are losing their lives for pranking, doing stupid stuff? We all did stupid stuff when we were kids. I'm not saying this 17-year-old kid was a saint. They shouldn't have been going around town at 10:45 at night shooting things out of their car, whether it's a pellet gun, whether it's an air rifle, whether it's a water gun, or whether it's a real pistol. You shouldn't be doing that because today's society tells you you're being stupid.
Right. Well,
So
here's the
how
thing,
do
man.
we get? So I'm going to ask that question, and you guys, please try to help me understand this. How do we get from where we were when we were
got you.
kids
We heard you. All right.
to
First
where
of
we are
all,
now?
apologize to anyone who's offended by the language. Skinner gets a little emotional here with his stories, but there's a lot of accountability to go around with everyone, and it starts. Gosh, I don't want to sound like that old guy because I had my moments riding around in the summer doing stuff too, but at 17, being home at the street lights, that's not really feasible. I wasn't home.
That's right.
I know what you were trying to say, but I don't think I wasn't home at those street lights at 17 years of age. But certainly these guys had no business near downtown Akron with the guns and doing anything like that. They brought this on themselves without question. I know what you're saying about taking the prank, but I got to ask the question: did they know these people?
No, it was just random.
Well, first of all, when we did pranks on people we knew, not on strangers.
I get that. Yeah, I get that.
So you don't know who you're messing with when you mess with people nowadays. You don't know who's got a psychotic problem, who's got a violent problem, And man, I hate that this kid has lost his life over this. But and I really feel for the family and the parents. But he brought this all on himself. They were out of line. They were in the wrong. They had no idea who they were messing with. Now, when I say there's a lot of accountability to go around, the kids that beat him down, I've always said this my entire life growing up. When a man fights a man, you ought to fight a man when he's down. You let it go. You let you end fight's over with. When you see a man's down, you let it go. I think you're a punk coward when you start stomping a man in his head and all this other stuff. It is ridiculous. When we fought, when the person didn't want no more, fight's over with. So they should be charged with something because it wasn't necessary to stomp nobody's head in. But far as I'm concerned, the kid brought him on himself. And I hate to say that and sound insensitive, but he was way in the wrong, and it was just really, really stupid.
And there's a lot of commentary on the story that the three kids that were excuse me, that were with him, they're accountable for this as well. Where were they in all this?
Yes.
And that's missing from the story. Fish, what do you got to say?
I mean, I'm kind of aligned with Keith on this one. As kids, even it's like you say, you just don't know. If you don't know a stranger, you don't know what he or she is capable of. So did they deserve losing their life? No, absolutely not. But if you're doing something to a stranger at 11 o'clock at night, and you just don't know what may happen to you, you're taking that risk. And obviously, it's unfortunately, it wound up in tragedy. So, like you said, if you know people, your friends, it's a whole different. Yeah, you might get upset at your buddy for pulling a prank and all that stuff. But you're not going to do anything major about it, So,
right,
I don't know, man.
But
it's just
something
too bad.
Doesn't make sense here. What you got out of the car and walked up to these guys and started shooting at them?
And that's where the story is funny. Yeah,
something's not right here. That doesn't make sense.
I've looked at a couple different avenues, and yeah, the gentlemen that were playing basketball ran, and then they came back when they realized that it wasn't actually a real gun. So why did this kid, the 17-year-old Ethan, get out of the car?
That's where I'm confused. Something is not being told here. We're not getting the whole story. Why were you still around that you were able to get caught?
It said police said Lemming and his friends were involved in a fight that evening with a group of males who were reportedly playing basketball. Lemming's friends reportedly called 911 after the victim was knocked unconscious and beat up. So the details are very sketchy as far as why did he get out of the car? I mean, yeah, and I'm glad you differentiated between the 17-year-old being out after the lights went out and how I initiated the story with us being younger, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. We needed to be home at a certain time. Yeah, when I was 17 years old, we were out TPing houses at night,
right,
throwing toilet paper. That's the worst we did. But we never harmed property. We never harmed an individual. Never once when I got pranked by anybody did the thought process go through my head that I'm going to beat the crap out of somebody. That never, and I don't think that did in most people.
I've never been in a fight in my life, no matter what they did to me, and wanted to stomp somebody's head in.
Yes.
I've never, ever wanted to do that to anybody, no matter what they've done to me. And that is an issue with our kids. The anger. They see this stuff on movies and TVs, and there's a serious problem with it, man.
Is that where these video games, these very graphic video games, these very graphic movies?
It's all part of it.
And that's where I would like to know where things evolved.
And a lack of parenting. All right, man. Tragic story, and well, the kids already paid with this life, and hopefully these guys will pay too because they took it way too far. Thanks, Skinner. All right. Wow. Pivoting from that, let's do a little bit of sports and music. So, guys, a couple crazy music stories here today. One crazy sports story. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the artist Lizzo. She is an R&B artist. She kind of has a following because she's overweight and she kind of pushes the whole overweight thing, the whole be yourself, whatever. She has a thing on Amazon Prime. It's all about she recruits nothing but big overweight girls to go, dancing with her on the road and whatnot. So anyway, she has been maligned in the media, I should say the internet, these last few weeks over a lyric to a song called Girls. And the problem is, uh, there's this term that I just learned today called ableism, which basically is making fun of someone with a disability or discriminating. And so the song Girls with three R's had a word in it, and she was accused of being an ableist. I could not wait to see what this word was, and I was shocked when I saw it. Especially growing up where we grew up and what school we went to. The word was spaz. This word was huge in the 80s. I'm trying to think of the movies we watched where that word was so popular. Some of the teenage movies we saw used that word quite a bit. You call your little brother or your little sister a spaz. The word was short
Weird
for
Science.
it was something else too. It's a really
Weird
popular
Science.
movie. No,
what
that's
was
not
the
it.
older the
It's
older brother
another
called?
more popular one.
Right.
You know what? I know what it is, and one of it's in the movie that he's going to talk about later, so I won't mention it. But anyway, to us, it was short for spazoid. Okay, and there was nothing derogatory behind it, but according to certain people, she was making fun, or they think the word is offensive to people with cerebral palsy and alike disabilities. Wow.
But
I
she
don't
called
even
herself a spaz in the song too, I think, Keith, right?
yeah,
She did.
I
Yeah.
don't even know where to begin with this. Um I'm not disappointed that these people brought this up because I'm used to this. I'm disappointed that she's changing it. But, when that money's involved and people start protesting your records, you'll do whatever. I don't even know where to begin, guys. This is ridiculous right now. There's going to be an ism for everything. Keithism. You can't offend Keiths. You know what I mean? Uh, you know, we're so far past racism right now. Ageism.
Altruism. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
it's just
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous right now. I
Yep.
think this is the silliest thing I've ever heard. I know for a fact this girl was not talking about people who suffer from cerebral palsy. God bless them. And I think it's utterly ridiculous. Your thoughts, Fish?
Yeah, I mean, if you're purposely making fun of somebody with a disability, of course, then you should expect backlash
Right.
deservedly. Again, but you can even argue that stuff. It's like if you're, I don't know, you shouldn't do it. Okay, it sounds to me she's definitely not purposely attempting to make fun of people with disabilities. It's a term that she was kind of using, about herself in the song, right? I I don't know. So
Here's the problem.
it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate the this is where social media is really uh there's a lot of positives about social media. There's certainly a lot of negatives as well, including shit like this, right? So it's to where,
Right.
you know,
Right.
somebody gets offended and you have a huge platform out there and a huge megaphone, and you put pressure on people to try to think the way that you're thinking or whatever it is and demand apologies and stuff like that. You know what? She should have said, listen, I didn't mean anything by it. See you later. Move on. I hate to see people cave to some of this stuff as well to try to appease. You can't appease everybody.
You can't be
It's
there.
just it's
Here's the
it's
problem.
impossible.
This is
Yep.
the problem. The word has two definitions. There's an
Okay.
urban dictionary spaz, and then there's the Webster's dictionary spaz. So
Okay.
spaz means to lose physical or emotional control. Um, we've never used that word to define someone like that. Never
Hmm.
growing up. The slang version says one who is inept. So basically saying you're an idiot. That's what we call it, a spaz. You're such a
Yeah,
spaz. That's
that's
where
right.
it came from. Now, if it was a derogatory word and someone's trying to get it removed out of people's mouths, you know what I'm saying? I could understand that, but that's not the word originally meant. And I just think it's just sad that we keep going down this slippery slope. Skinner?
Yeah, this is just another one of the cancel culture at its finest. You know, I'm trying to think what it was. It was an actor or somebody that we talked about on a previous show. He
Nicholas
lost
Cage,
his,
probably.
who knows? But
Oh,
we went from acting or Hollywood. They backed down from something they said to now it's a song lyric where the artist is backing down from a statement that's made in a song. I don't understand it. I hate cancel culture. I hate where things are going. Um, if it's a word in a song, what's going to be next? Is that the entire song? We had the problem with all the Christmas songs being taken down because it was offensive.
Yeah,
This is
that was
just
insane.
another branch off to that.
Okay. All right. So that's that story.
the way to fight
Also,
that stuff is just don't say anything. Just like, yeah, didn't mean anything by it, so and just move on. You know
and
what?
keep
And,
on
and
moving. Yeah.
the average
Here's what
the
you got to
average
do.
person will be like, yeah, okay, I get it. She wasn't trying to be offensive. And there's 4 zillion other stories and bad stories or whatever it is that'll hit your social media the next day, and you just move on.
Okay, this day in music, guys, in 1992, we had a song that spent 17 weeks at number one. To this day, I still think it's one of the worst number one songs I've ever heard in my life.
Now,
A lot
this
of
is
people,
offensive, Keith. What you're about to say.
it's very
I agree.
offensive. So be
Hmm.
ready. I know so many people that love this song, and I can't stand it. But "Achy Breaky Heart" went to number one for 17 weeks. I consider it one of the worst number one songs ever. Um, but hey, anybody writes a hit song, you get a little bit of respect from me. So, guys, I
Sure.
looked up what the worst number one songs in history are, and I was
Mm.
shocked at the list. So I thought it'd be kind of fun if we went down memory lane and looked at some of these and hear what you guys thought. So they got the 16 worst number ones in history, and I got to tell you, I am shocked at number 16 because say what you will about this band. This was a great and well written song, I thought, by them. But number 16 was Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. Skinner,
Oh.
what do you think,
Um,
man?
Not my favorite Poison song, but I don't know why it's on the top 16 worst songs.
Well, it sounds good, but most importantly, the lyrics are outstanding. I mean, they
Yeah.
really wrote a
Yeah,
great song if you listen to the lyrics of
I
that one.
agree. Yeah, like I said, it's not my favorite, but I don't agree with that. That shouldn't be on the list at
Okay,
all.
Fish.
I agree. One of the all-time best '80s ballads. Period. That's it.
Yeah,
He has
yeah.
great, like you say,
Okay,
it's great guitar, great vocals, great lyrics. It should not
okay.
be on that list.
All right, here's a band I could not get into at all. Number 15 with Arms Wide Open, Creed.
Really?
Mm,
Now, there's where we disagree with you. I thought Creed, if it wasn't for Scott Stapp losing his freaking mind, probably would be one of the best bands in the history of music
Oh my God,
with the way
the
they
biggest
started.
overrated band ever.
Oh, they
Okay.
were huge. They were,
Yeah, they're
in the late
huge. I still
90s,
thought
early
they stunk.
2000s. They had a huge
What do you what
following.
what do you think, Fish?
I tell you what, that song came out right around the time that I learned I was going to be a father, and that Peyton's mom was pregnant with her, and that song has so many emotions for me on the positive side to where I was just like afraid I was gonna, that's where he wrote that song. He was just writing it for his new child. I think I don't know. That song's very powerful and moving for me because, like I said, it's definitely
Okay.
a personal connection to me. I would hear that song and cry with being scared and everything. I knew kid was going to come in the world, so
Okay.
I like it personally.
Okay. 14 is not important. I'm gonna go down to 13. This is another one that shocks me even more than 16 because this is one of the greatest songs ever written. Uh, just the way it sounds, and two, the message in this song is something that is so powerful, so many people can relate to. But "Cats in the Cradle" by Harry Chapin.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, that
Yeah.
don't belong.
Okay, I think we all agree on that one.
That's a
That's
great
a
song.
My dad, I remember when that song would play, he loved Harry Chapin, that he would make him cry because it was such a, again, for him, it was a personal connection for him and about his relationship with his dad.
Yeah,
And
a lot of
so,
people,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Okay, let's go down to no, I want to see that one. Wait a minute, they skipped here. Number 9, "Can't Help Falling in Love" by UB40. You guys remember that one?
I remember that version of that song. Sure, classic song. That song's a great song. I mean, it's like anybody who
that's
sings
what I
that
think
song, it's
too.
unless you're doing like some
Unless you
weird,
really mess it up, right?
yeah, that's just a nicely written. So the lyrics are just that's one of the nicest
You don't have
songs.
to be a UB40 fan. It's just a classic song.
Yeah,
Yeah. Get our thoughts in it. You remember that one?
I remember it. I remember their version of it. Maybe it was third version. I'd like to know what the criteria is for this list.
Oh,
I'm
well,
not
you guys
sure
gonna
that.
love number 8. This is one
somebody's
of the
just opinion.
one of the biggest songs ever. I can't believe it's on this list. I can see it being annoying to some people though. "You Light Up My Life," Debbie Boone.
Oh, that was one of the most overplayed songs in the '80s I think I've
Oh, it
ever
got
heard.
played, didn't it?
My gosh.
But it is a nice song. It is a nicely
Light
written
up
song.
yeah, it is a
Yeah.
nicely written song. You got to
Yeah,
give
the
it.
first
Yeah.
100 times you listen to it,
Yeah, the
maybe.
first 100 times. It's that second 100 you go crazy. Okay. All right. So number 7, they've lost their freaking mind. This song did so much for people. Ebony and Ivory, Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder.
Now that is not the meaning. It's well intended, without question. It's just a kind of a corny song.
You
I
thought
don't
so? I
know.
thought it was brilliant because they akin the relationship between blacks and white to the keys on the
Yeah,
piano, and I
I
thought that
get
was
no. It's
great.
it
It talked
is
about
again. It's
harmony between
yep.
us, and the harmony that the keys make. I thought it was brilliant.
The
Yeah.
From a
sentiment
musician
behind it was
standpoint.
good. The
Yeah.
sentiment behind it was good, but it was a pretty corny song.
And a Stevie Wonder and Paul, two of the most iconic artists that will ever live in music history
Mhm.
sang it. So I don't know. It's just I wouldn't put it on that list. Don't get me wrong. I would not say it's
Okay,
one of the worst
fair
songs,
enough.
number one songs of all time. It's just I don't know.
Okay,
But
now this song right here at number 6. Man, when I was young and first thought I knew what love was, 13, 12, you couldn't tell me nothing when, I'm in love because a girl passed me a note at study hall.
Yep.
Yeah, this song was my freaking song, man. Yes, still to this day, I love this song. "Total Eclipse of the Heart," Bonnie Tyler.
That's a good song.
That's a
That is
great song. Oh
She had that
my
unique
God.
voice.
Oh, I used to sit in the dark with my boombox and cry like a baby. Between that and some Journey.
That song
Shut
has
up,
been in a
Skinner.
lot of Total Eclipse of the Heart has been on a lot of movies too. I'm kind of surprised that that's on that list.
Yeah. Number 5. Now this guy, he just could do no wrong. God rest his soul. "I'd do anything for love." Meatloaf.
Yeah,
That's a great song.
that might deserve to be on the list. I don't know.
No, Fish.
Yeah, I don't know.
Really?
Not his
That's
best.
just a good song, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess
I
yeah.
don't know.
Well, you're a Meatloaf fan. I can't even say that. Yeah, I'm surprised you have that opinion.
Okay,
Not
number
it's
4.
yeah.
I
Anyway,
definitely agree
yeah.
with number 4. I just want to puke every time I hear this song. "Macarena."
Yeah.
I got a story to tell
If I
about
never
that
see
one.
anybody do that dance again, I'll be happy.
Yeah, that was huge at the time. Was it 90s?
Oh,
Yeah.
that
96.
was 1996. You know why?
Yep. Why?
I was in Germany, and that song came out over across this pond before it
Were you
made
doing
it
the
to the
Macarena,
U.S.
Skinner? Did
So
you do
I
the
heard
Macarena?
that damn song while I was on TDY, or I was in temporary duty in Germany. So I had to listen to that song 4 or 5 times a day, every day when I was in Germany. And then I came home 2 months later, and that's when it hit the United States. So I had to listen to it all over again.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I'm gonna skip 3 and 2. I mean, skip 3. I'm gonna go down to 2 and 1. I don't know who made this list because these number 2 is a good sounding song, and number 1 is one of the greatest pieces of music ever made. Number 2 is "We Built This City" by Starship.
Horrible song. Horrible.
Yeah, I have to
There's
agree with
something-
Fish on that one.
I like this song. There's just something pleasing to the ear by. I don't know.
No.
I like singing
No.
it when it comes on.
That song is so choppy. It's like you're chopping blocks with the lyrics on that thing. Yeah,
Nope.
I agree with
Yeah.
Fish on that one totally.
You know what? Because you have that opinion, the next 4 weeks, you're no podcast earnings for you for 4 solid weeks.
That song might as well
$0.
had a robot singing it. That thing was so bad.
What if I told you Nicolas Cage sang on it?
I would still say the same damn thing.
Okay,
That song angers me when I hear it. It's horrible, terrible, terrible. God,
Okay.
you think about Starship. That was like the polar opposite of their stuff when they were hard rocking.
When they were Jefferson Starship.
Jefferson
yeah,
Starship,
yeah.
Yes, that was the
Well,
polar
they had to
opposite.
grow up. They
oh
grew up.
my
That's what they
God,
evolved into. That's all.
Well, they
Oh,
should have stayed kids.
terrible.
Okay. All right. I can't wait to hear what you guys say about this one. Number 1. "We Are the World," USA for Africa.
Bullshit.
1985.
Absolute bullshit.
You know,
Boy, you're just a little cusser today, aren't you?
I got to call BS on this one. What
You
in
like
the
that
earth
song?
is this song on number 1?
That song is one of the greatest songs, the most fun songs.
The biggest collaboration of artists of all
Yes.
time. And
Grammy
it's
winners.
ranked the worst song in history by whoever wrote this.
Grammy
They're
winner,
on-
and it had iconic voices that you just knew who was singing it. You know what I'm saying?
know
You
what?
knew it was Steve Perry. You knew it was Willie Nelson. You knew it was Michael. You knew it was Lionel. Come on, man.
I'd never need to hear that song again as long as I live. Never.
Well, you know
It's
what?
fine. It's fine.
For 15, 20 years, I felt that way because that
It's
song got
fine.
wore out. But I
It's
like
fine.
hearing it now because I don't hear it often. But that song got wore out to death.
It was. I mean, listen. It was well intended. Don't get. It was. They wrote it. I mean,
I don't care
certainly.
about you wanting to hear the song. Does it belong on the list?
Yes.
Really?
Sure. Shame on you.
You're
Hey,
disappointing me,
Shame on.
man.
Hey, Block,
As far as
can we X
listen.
him out?
Now wait. I mean, songs on the list here now, right? You want to listen to repeatedly. Do you want to listen to either one of those top 2 songs repeatedly? Do you want to listen to it every? Would you be
Okay,
Would you
you're-
be completely fine
You're
to
basing
never
this
hear those
because
songs
It
again?
got overplayed. You got
No.
overplayed.
No, forget overplayed. Right now,
Yes.
would you care if you ever heard that song again the rest of your life?
Absolutely, I would. Yes.
Okay, all right. See, I would not. I'm fine. I had my fill. You know what I want to hear? Stars. That's what I want to
that's
hear.
the
The
worst-
heavy metal version one. That's what I want to hear. You know. But we are the. It's
strong. We are fire and stone.
that's just fun. All the guitar solos and
But
stuff.
USA for Africa ain't fun.
No, it's not
You know
fun.
what? I'm done with it.
It's not fun. Great. Listen, it's a great song. It's great
All right, Fish.
vocals.
Okay.
They did the right. Listen, there's a lot of
Just let
people
them
coming
starve.
together.
Just let them starve, Fish.
Don't no. I'm not saying that at all. The fact that they made it to help others is terrific. It's wonderful.
All right.
It's like the same as that Christmas song. You know, do they know it's Christmas and all that? It gets fine. It's a nice song. It's got a lot of great vocals. It's a time capsule for the '80s star performers. No question about any of that stuff. Don't need to hear it anymore. That's it. Is it a worst song of all time? No, it's not the worst song of all time. I just, from an enjoyment factor,
But you would agree.
I don't need to hear it again.
USA, We Are the World is the worst number one song of all time.
No, I don't agree with that. No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
The worst is number 2. That Jefferson Air, a Starship.
No,
That
just
is or
Starship.
Starship at the
Starship.
top.
Just Starship
Yeah.
then,
See,
yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough,
That
guys.
is
All
the
right,
worst.
that was
That
a
is the
fun list.
worst.
Okay,
Yeah.
real quick, one sports story for today. Uh, NBA Finals still going on right now. Game 5. We still say go Boston. Check out my man Fish's shirt right there. One sports story today. Amy Snyder. We spoke on Amy Snyder before. Amy Snyder was the multi Jeopardy winner, the first transgender winner on Jeopardy. Was
Mhm.
invited to throw out the first pitch uh, this weekend um, at a Los Angeles Dodgers game. Fox did not show her throwing out the first pitch. Instead, they went to Cal Busch throwing out a ceremonial pitch at another game. Obviously, some people, wanted answers from Fox of what's going on, was it on purpose or whatnot. And they gave some excuse to the extent of saying um, they were going to be covering NASCAR later, and that's why they did it or whatnot. So I haven't read the whole story, guys, but I'm just wondering: is this shades of thing to come? I don't want to get in a debate about transgenderism, but we are getting it pushed down our throats. Every single new show that I watch is basically pushing the agenda. Is this signs of things to come? Are we going to start seeing more kickback like this, or do you believe this was just an oversight? Start with you, Fish.
I don't know that it's a complete oversight, but it is a bad oversight. I mean, just I, I don't understand the logic. Just if you're broadcasting a game, whomever is throwing out the first pitch, just show the pitch. If you have a transgender person doing, you have to understand Kyle Busch or no Kyle, whatever. If you don't broadcast so it may be I don't want to say I don't want to call her a controversial figure, but definitely a public figure that you may get backlash if you don't
Polarizing, if
broadcast the.
anything.
There you go. That's a good word. That you're going to get some potential backlash here. Just err on the side of caution. Show the pitch. You can always go back and show on top of that. Show the Kyle Busch
But
on
don't you think
the sec after
they were going to get some backlash by showing it?
maybe.
Dang if you do, dang if you don't type of situation, maybe.
I guess so, but err on the side of this is the game that we're broadcasting.
Mm-hmm.
Show the pitch. I don't know. It's
If you
stupid.
asked Amy to pitch the ball,
Exactly.
and then show the game. Okay, I got you.
But I don't know. It's a crap too that it continues to. I don't know. I mean, it does contribute to hate. I think, and maybe intolerance a little bit to where you may agree or disagree with her throwing out the first pitch, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's a well-known figure in pop
Right.
culture. She won a lot of games on Jeopardy. People know her. And if you're a transgender person, I'm sure that's the type of person. It's like, hey, look what somebody did who's a trans. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty awesome. That did all this and won a lot of money on Jeopardy and showed some
Mm-hmm.
good smarts there. And that's awesome.
Well,
Let folks have a moment, and it's just dumb. It's a dumb if
one of
it's
the
a dumb
things I
oversight on
like that
somebody's part.
one of the things
Go
I
ahead.
like that you said was that it lends to hate and intolerance. Um, Me personally, I'm tired of every show that I watch. It seems to be an agenda to push this forward, or even the homosexual agenda. Um, I understand it's the world we live in. I understand art has to reflect life, and vice versa. I get that part. I But it seems like it's just being it's purposely being overdone. But one thing I can't stand, I don't care what your opinions are on the LGBTQ issue, the transgender issue, whatever. I don't care what it is. If it stems from hate or intolerance, you need to check yourself.
Hmm.
Um, Don't give me uh, how you grew up. Don't give me religion. Don't give me any of that. If your feelings come from hate or intolerance, you are in the wrong. So if that's what Fox did, uh, shame on them. But I don't know, man. It's anytime right now something like that happens, uh, someone it's hard for anything bad to happen to a person, a transgender person, and the thoughts immediately not be that it was done on purpose. So we're gonna
Right.
be very careful going down the road here. Skinner, thoughts?
My thought is if Fox knew that they were going to be wanting to air the NASCAR driver doing the pitch, why are they not in that city airing that particular ball game?
Listen, Fox announcer used Bush's ceremonial toss to remind viewers the network was televising Sunday's NASCAR race at Simona Raceway.
So I think the easy solution is either make. You said it was in Los Angeles that the game was
I think you
being
can say your
played.
BS statement now.
No. All they gotta say is hey, we're going to be airing the
That's what I'm
NASCAR
saying.
on
That's,
Sunday.
that's a bunch of bull.
You
You
need
didn't
to
need to
have
cut
this
to
person
Carl
throw out
Bush.
the first pitch, and instead of now you've just opened up a can of worms that's going to be hard to close.
That's the stupidest explanation I've ever heard in my life. You have something to remind people. They're called commercials.
Commercials, yeah.
That's right. Yep.
That's
All right,
Yep.
all right, okay. Enough
They
of that
got a
crazy stuff.
banner every freaking moment of every game anyway.
Exactly.
Watch this. Watch
So
this.
I think
Watch
it was
this.
a slight on purpose. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, enough of that, guys. Pop culture, take it away, Fish.
All right. Okay. Well, we did have a unfortunate passing in the world of pop culture. Actor Phillip Baker Hall. You may not know the name, but if you saw him, you probably would recognize him. If you're a Seinfeld fan, you definitely recognize him. Mr. Hall was 90 years of age, so it's natural causes. The very famous Seinfeld overdue
Bookman.
library book episode. That's right, Detective Bookman. Right, he was a
Mm-hmm.
library detective who was on the case to retrieve an overdue library book that I believe it was George had, and so he was terrific
But
on that
Jerry checked it
show.
out.
Oh, Jerry checked it out. You're right. You're right. It was a whole fun episode. He was very serious.
Yeah, it was great.
And Keith and I were talking about it before the show here, but it was also had a notable role in Boogie Nights,
Right.
and we won't repeat it on the show here. But one of the funniest scenes in that movie, at least, if not one of the funnier scenes.
Mm-hmm.
He delivers a line when he's talking to Burt Reynolds about how movie distribution is
Or
changing. It's
Jack
going.
Trainer, I think was his name. Jack.
That's right. Going to videotape, and he just has this terrific straight faced line that I crack up every time I watch it. So just look up Phillip Baker Hall Boogie Nights if it's an R rated
I thought I was
line.
the
So
only
check him
one.
out.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
thought I was the
I
only
love that
one
line.
that loved that line when he said it. It cracked me up. I never heard anything like that. It was great. And it was basically a true time during that period.
That's
Adult
right.
films were basically films. They made it with film, 8mm film. They were at
Mhm.
theaters. And this was that transition from instead of using professionals and making films, they went to using amateurs and making videotape. And of course,
That's
Jack was
right.
like, dude, no way. That's never going to happen. And he's trying to get Jack, played by Burt Reynolds, to see the future. And he's trying
Right.
to let him know, look, I'm a very simple man. I like simple things. And of course, the line was classic. We can't repeat it after that. So
Yep.
he was a good character actor. He always played a great character. Never that leading man, but a great character actor.
Yeah, very good. Are you familiar with him? I know you're a Seinfeld fan, Skinner. You probably know
Oh
him
yeah,
from the
I
Seinfeld
have
episode.
nothing important to add. Yeah, he was a character actor for the ages, that's for sure.
All right. And he was born in our home state, Toledo, Ohio. So
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's interesting.
Yep. All right, guys. We had a movie that just celebrated its 40th anniversary since its release already. Little movie by the name of E.T. So there's a lot of moments. And Drew Barrymore recently was posting some very nice photos of her as a little girl with Steven Spielberg. Very sweet pictures, that her kissing E.T. in the movie and all this stuff. So I saw the movie back in the theater back in the day, but just a huge, huge movie. I haven't seen it in a while, so this makes me want to go back and rewatch it for the nostalgia. And it is a good movie. So again, 40 years ago, it's hard to believe. Um, Keith, are you an ET fan? When's the last time you saw it? Do you remember the first time seeing it? What are your thoughts
No,
on ET?
no, I am
Not a
not.
fan.
No.
All right.
I didn't see it when it came out. I was a little older when I finally watched E.T. Um, I don't remember anything bad to say about it, but I just put it like this: I am a total movie buff. When I like a movie, I watch that movie multiple. I got certain movies I watch over and over again, like it's the first time. I can quote every line. Your Godfathers and your Armageddons or your Titanic or your Casablancas or your Diary of a Mad Black Woman. These movies that I'll watch over and over and over and over again. I saw E.T. one time, probably
Hmm.
over 25, 30 years ago. I've never seen it again since.
Okay. Skinner?
Yeah, I was a big fan when I was a kid. I was a lot younger than you guys when it came out. I remember drawing
I
E.T.
removed the word lot out of that sentence, okay? I think you're
Back
slick.
then, 3 years
You're
was
a
a lot.
little younger.
3 years was a lot when we were kids.
Yeah, okay.
But no, I remember E.T. I used to draw the E.T. on paper, and kids used to pay me a quarter for an ET illustration, and I
Mm.
actually had it down pretty good. But yeah, it's a very good family movie. I think if you sit and watch it with your grandkids someday, Keith, you might have a different appreciation for it. Truthfully,
Yeah, it is one of those movies, like you say. It's not a movie that's like you say in my Rolodex of movies that I want to rewatch over and over again, like a
no, of
Caddyshack, like
course
a
not.
Raiders, Star Wars, those types of movies. It doesn't fit that bill for me. I don't know why. I think a lot of it's just it is a sad and stressful movie and sad. It. I mean, I will say at the time it was interesting in the fact that there's an alien on the Earth and the bad guys are the scientists, the U.S. scientists who want to capture him and do studies on him and all this stuff. And that in itself is still, I would think it's pretty true yet today. If you're going to make a similar film today, that is just a friendly alien creature, and the U.S. government wants to capture it and
Yeah,
study
I
it and all
mean,
this
nobody's
type of
gonna be able to
stuff.
just come down and visit and say, "Hey, I just want to come here for the weekend." That would never happen. It
Right?
would happen pretty much like that. I
Yeah.
don't remember anything specific about the movie to even know why I'm not a huge fan of it. So it's been that long. I mean, we all
Yeah.
remember E.T. Go Home. We all remember the bike ride. But that's
Sure.
about it for me. So yeah,
Yep.
maybe I'll watch it
Reese's
again someday.
Pieces, all that. Yep. Okay. Maybe that's a good backyard summertime movie this year to go back and check out again. I don't know. All right. Big debut. Another Marvel series debuted last week. Ms. Marvel, starring a young, has definitely a whole different tone in the Marvel universe. I think she's a Middle Eastern girl.
Yes.
Discovers she has powers, and she's a fan of Captain Marvel in the
Yes.
series, and realizes that she has powers, and takes the name after her hero. So it's definitely a whole lighter tone, lighter feel. It's a young teenage girl. Um, I have not seen the full episode yet, but Keith, now you mentioned it here. What are your initial thoughts on Ms. Marvel? Is this going to gain some traction, or what do you think?
Well, I'm gonna say this to be fair. I'd like to revisit this after about 4 episodes.
Okay.
My sister made a comment about how boring she thought it was. She didn't care for it, and I had to explain to her. Anytime you're going to get, I mean, you got your mainstream characters. You got your Thors, your Spider Mans, your Iron Mans. When you start getting outside that major realm, and you start talking about Moon Knights and Miss Marvel and all these different
Yeah.
and the newer characters, it is important that you set up the storyline first, give a little bit of history, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
happened in this first episode. You didn't really get any cool action to like the very last minute of the show. So I thought they did an excellent job of setting up the story of who Kamala Khan really is,
Mm-hmm.
and bringing in a Middle Eastern superhero character. I think that was great to do and to show that. And they did a great job of doing that. So I'm going to reserve my comments for a few episodes. Hopefully, it gets more action. But as far as
Mm-hmm.
setting up not Miss Marvel, but setting up Kamala Khan, they did a great job of that.
Okay. Skinner, have you seen it yet? Do you have an intention to watch it, or what do you think?
No, I haven't seen it yet, but I like what Keith said about how they introduce the characters and they set up the storylines. If you think back to the original Captain America,
I was thinking
That
of that.
first-
Yeah,
that first hour of that movie was absolutely boring as can be.
but it had to be done.
But it had to be done.
Yeah.
And when you left the theater watching that movie, you're like, okay, I'm ready for the next one.
Right.
Even though we only got
you saw
about a half
Winter
hour.
Soldier, it was amazing. Civil
Yeah.
War was amazing, but you knew where he had come from. Everything made sense. When you
Mhm.
watched the Avengers Endgame, when he broke into that facility, when he went back in time and he saw the
Mhm.
picture of Peggy Carter, that wouldn't have made sense if you didn't get that history from the first
Right.
Captain America. So
Right.
Yep.
So, but yeah, to answer your question, I am going to see it. I just haven't seen it yet.
Okay. And I do like the fact that these heroes are coming out. So if in the Marvel is definitely broadening their horizons, and you could be a young girl, you could be a young Middle Eastern girl, you could be a black man, or whatever it is. You could be a superhero,
yes,
right?
yes.
So I
Mhm.
like all that the Marvel universe is definitely doing with all
disability,
these
there's all
series.
sorts of stuff coming out.
Exactly.
And by
That's
the way,
right,
I did see
exactly.
Doctor Strange 2 finally, guys.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it's good.
it was interesting.
Did you
For the
like
most
the horror elements?
No,
What did you
I
think?
could have done without that part. To me, that could have all been just X out of the movie. All the demon stuff, you could have kept that. I tell you what I did like about it though. When traveling through the multiverse, I thought that was just fascinating how they illustrated that. There's a cartoon verse. There was it was just
Mhm.
amazing. There's an animated verse. Um, I love the fact that they finally showed how powerful the Scarlet Witch really is.
Yeah,
Uh, they've been really kind of downplaying her in the recent movies. She was voted maybe the most powerful mutant of all in the comic books years ago, and I'm glad they
that's right.
showed that in the movie. And I love the precursors when he had to appear before the Illuminati. That was just awesome.
Yes.
You saw what's his name from The Office. He is actually going to be playing Reed Richards and the new Fantastic Four since they bought the rights to that. You saw Professor X, who
Mhm.
they bought the rights to the X-Men. They're going to be showing that. And you
Yep.
saw Captain Marvel there, who is now a black lady, but that is actually Carol Danvers, her best friend, who was in
Yep.
Captain Marvel, the movie.
That's
and
right.
in the comic book, she does become Captain Marvel, except for her outfit is black and white. So hopefully they'll make that right. But I thought the most interesting thing was to see Anson Williams reprise his role as Black Bolt.
Yes.
Marvel
Hmm.
did the Inhuman series last year, which
Mhm.
bombed. It was horrible. Probably their only bomb that they've done. This was terrible. It was terribly done. And to see them do that is kind of positive that they might take another stab at that and do it right. But that was cool to see him back in that role again as Black Bolt.
Yeah. Absolutely. I enjoyed it, and it's actually going to be on Disney Plus streaming on I think the 24th. So if you have
Yeah,
not seen
coming
that
quick,
movie
coming
yet for
quick.
some reason, or if you want to see it a second time like me, coming on Disney Plus very soon. Okay. Let's see. Getting a little late. This week in pop culture history, guys. So June 13th, 1978. So it's today. So we're shooting this on June 13th. Grease was the word. So the movie Grease came out. That was obviously a huge hit that summer. That soundtrack was burning up the top 40 charts for several weeks, several songs. Olivia Newton-John, John Travolta, those songs today, even so, if you're in our generation, you probably know many songs from that movie, at least a couple at the very least. You probably sing them. You probably know a lot of them by heart today. And I think it's every Gen X. If all the musical performers in our generation, one of them I think is probably the most beloved is Olivia Newton-John. Her songs, just everything about her. She's beautiful. She has a great voice. Even now, I love a lot of the songs. I don't get tired of them. It's summertime music when I hear it. So the movie itself, you can leave it for the most part. I don't really care about it. I think it's weird, and there's a lot of weird things in the movie itself. But the soundtrack for me is absolutely killer. So Keith, Grease is the word. What do you think of Grease?
I saw
Too
Grease.
much hype, or what do you think? Go ahead.
Saw when I was a kid. I immediately liked it. The more I grew up, the more I watched it, the more I loved it. The movie is fun. Some of the scenes, obviously, the dance scene was great.
Mm-hmm.
Travolta just was, somebody I was a big fan of. Grew up watching Welcome Back, Kotter, and all that. Just having him in there was great. The music, that's probably the only movie where the soundtrack is bigger than the movie. Was one of
Yep.
the few, I should say.
Yep.
Whoever wrote those songs just nailed it. They're fun to sing, they're catchy, and they have stood the test of time. Probably the duet between him and Olivia. Tell me, that's probably one of the biggest songs on karaoke's
Sure.
top 100
Absolutely.
list. And
Yep.
I still love it to this day. I always say Grease is one of the most perfect musicals. It's just missing one thing. I don't see any people of color in it except the one guy in Sha Na Na. But other than that, it was just a really, really terrific movie, and I love every song in that movie.
There you go. Skinner, Grease, thoughts.
Oh, I have to love Grease. You know, the music was bigger than the movie. You're absolutely right, and that's one of the few that's out there. My mom was a Grease fan, so of course I was stuck as a young kid with mom watching that. But when Chelsea was old enough to understand, my middle child, she fell in love with Grease, and she wore out VCR tape after VCR tape every single day. She put on Grease, so it kind of got to me after a while, having to see it so much. But even just listening to it in the background, the music never gets old.
Yep. Very good. All right. And June 17th, 1994, OJ Simpson leads police on a slow speed chase. Al Cowlings, the white Ford Bronco. If you were around and, if you were, a teenager probably and up in 1994, you probably saw some of that chase. You know exactly what that is.
Can we stop using the word chase? They were
it
going
wasn't
10
really a
miles an hour.
chase. Yeah, that's right.
It was the
police
world famous, most famous follow.
Yeah, they could have stopped it at any time, but they were worried that he was going to commit suicide or something like that. So they kind of stayed behind and let him drive and just sort of followed him to make
Go
sure.
through the drive-through.
It was more like a funeral procession more than it was anything else.
Yeah, it was a very strange thing, and obviously from there it went into the crazy trial and everything else. But this was probably the biggest crime drama that certainly at the time for us, and maybe still to this day in our lifetime, that ever existed. That it was really the start of the media hype over something that was really turned out to be a very unfortunate and tragic story, with live courtroom drama and Johnny Cochran, all this stuff. It just became a media circus, and we talked about last week even the comparison to this, the Johnny Depp hearing, an Amber Heard hearing, with the scrutiny of TikTok videos and this and that. But this is kind of where all that started back then. I remember coming home. I was living with our buddy, one of my brothers, Jim Cunningham at the time, and walked up in the apartment, and he had it on television. It's like, what the hell's going on? He said that there's OJ Simpson. I'm like, wow, OJ. It's like he was a sportscaster and a famous athlete. Obviously, so what is going on? We sat down and just didn't move the rest of
Yeah,
the afternoon
it's
while that was
captivating.
on, and just watched it. It really was captivating. So, Keith, go. What are your other memories on this whole
Oh my gosh, I don't even know
craziness?
where to begin. First of all, I just want to say we talked about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. This was just a defamation of character
Right.
procession. Could you imagine if the OJ thing was going on today with the social media we have now?
It,
Good
And
Lord.
it'd be overwhelming.
oh my God, as far as being huge, listen, you had romance, you had a world famous athlete, you had murder. I mean, it just had all those elements that made it a huge story. It was terrible. There was, division amongst the races. There was this whole element about, who was wrong, her for, having this young lover, or blah blah. It was just a terrible, terrible thing. And I made a joke about not calling it a chase, but to be honest with you, it let me know how severe the intensity of this was, because the
Hmm.
truck was going so slow and had so many officers behind it. Wasn't doing 90 miles an hour. The guy trying to get away, but it was such a
Nope.
intense situation that they were able to go a few miles an hour, and the police not want to, you know, push them into doing something that they would regret. So I was just blown away. I just remember um, the whole race thing being involved. I was really sad
Yeah.
when he was found not guilty, and all the black kids in my elementary school started cheering, uh, uh, all upset because he got off, and then all the white kids or white people were upset because he uh, was acquitted. And I was thinking to myself, everybody's so wrapped up in race and this and that, they forget that two people are dead.
That's right.
Two
Hmm.
people are
Violently
dead.
killed. Yeah.
Two people are
Yes.
dead right now, and we're playing the race cards with each other. It's really stupid. And on a Skilla Johnson album that I wrote with my friend JT, and him being white, we were watching that one day, and we said to each other, "What?" And somebody said, "Oh, this kicked race relations back 15 years," and we looked at each other, and goes, "What the heck does this have to do with us? Nothing. It has nothing to do with how we treat each other. But if stupid people wanted to base their uh, guilt or innocence on race rather than facts, and two people's murderer being caught, that's really stupid, or going free, whichever way it was. I personally think he was guilty. um,
Mm.
Obviously
Yeah.
it's impossible to be convicted, in my opinion, in civil court and not be truly guilty, even though you were acquitted in criminal court. But it was just a really, really sad time, but it was spectacular, man, to watch. It was must see TV.
Yeah. Yep. Skinner. You remember the whole thing?
Oh yeah, I remember where I was when the verdict came down that he was found not guilty. I was working for Stanley Steamer, and I was in a customer's living room, and they said, "Hey, can you stop for a second so we can hear this?" Um, I think back then is where it started that they were guilty until proven innocent. That's where I think, where it all started, because everybody thought he was guilty from day one. He was acquitted for, whatever the reasons were. I didn't really pay too much attention to the trials.
Well, the
It
glove didn't fit, so they must have quit.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, it didn't affect my life back then. I thought a lot, my thinking and my thought process was a lot different at 20. I'd have been 25 years old, 24 years old at the time versus how I am today. So I didn't pay much attention, but you think about how people nowadays, they are guilty until proven innocent. And I think that's where it really started.
Yeah.
That whole
Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
No, finish your thought, please.
Oh, yeah, but as far as I, how do you get found not guilty in trial court, but
Civil court,
in
yeah.
civil court you're guilty as hell? So I just I never
I'll say
understood
this
all that.
though. One thing that was said, and I totally agree with it. Al Collins was a true friend. I'll say that
Yes.
for him. He was a
Right.
real
Because
friend.
Yeah, he could have went to jail or anything else with all
Mhm.
that. So yeah, he was definitely looking out for his buddy. That's for sure. Yeah, and the one thing I remember is like it just did not compute at the time. It was just didn't make any sense because everything whenever you saw OJ on television as a sportscaster or he was in the Naked Gun movie and all that, it was like it
Mhm.
didn't make any sense. He seemed
Right.
like such a nice
One loving guy.
person.
Yeah.
And it was definitely eye opening to where the guy can portray himself one way in the public eye, and you heard firsthand that there was some bad shit going on in that house. You know what I'm saying? It
There
was
was a
like
lot of bad
it
stuff.
definitely it definitely brought domestic abuse. I mean, obviously, again, it's the murder's a whole other thing, but
Hmm.
it's just that that stuff can happen in any household that you might think is just normal, nice people, and there's some bad stuff going on. It definitely created a lot more awareness and everything else around
It
that
did.
ugly topic.
It was
So
a
Mhm.
I don't
lovely
know.
girl too. Um,
Yeah,
and you know, and we didn't even know then the links to the Kardashian family that were going to sprout. You know,
you're right.
30 years later. Um,
Thanks, OJ.
yeah. Hey, listen, man. I'm telling you what. I don't care what nobody says. I think OJ is the one Kardashian's father. They look just alike. You look at them. But anyway, I'm serious. A lot of people saying that he's the father. Look how much she looks like him. She don't look like Kim, the older sister.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
there's documented proof that the mother was having an affair with OJ back then. So I don't know, but anyway, uh, one of the things that I remember was thinking how OJ was such a larger than life figure, and so many people were let down by the abuse, which got overshadowed by the murder. But I remember this, guys. I've been divorced for 20 years now. My first wife. I've seen her once in the last 5 years. I don't care what's going on with her and I. If somebody was to murder her,
Hmm.
I would still lose my. I would be an absolute mess.
Sure.
Me personally, and for my kids' sake.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I couldn't even worry about saying I didn't do it. I would just be freaking out, but somebody killed the mother of my
Yeah.
kids.
They
And
never had that reaction.
yeah, I never had that reaction. That just
Yeah.
kind of blew me away. Like,
Hmm.
so that was my thoughts.
Yep. All right. Well, definitely a crazy time back in '94. All right, guys. Hate to end on a kind of a
Oh,
somber.
on murder. Wait, hey, hope you enjoyed the show.
All
Fish
right. I'll tell
starts
you what.
out his segment with the death and ends it with death. What the hell?
Well, let's not do that. Let's just say really quick here. Back in on June 16th in 1884, the very first roller coaster started in Brooklyn at Coney Island.
Oh,
Coney
cool.
So
Island.
how about that? So it's just a American tradition. Roller coasters began back then. And in our neck of the woods here, Cedar Point up in Sandusky, Ohio, is one of the greatest roller coaster parks in the entire country. And we could drive to it in a couple of hours here. I know we all spent many fun times at Cedar Point. So let's reflect instead of the OJ trial and death and murder and all that, fun times at Cedar Point, riding roller coasters. And that's some of the best
Good
roller
time.
coasters again in the world are up at Cedar Point. And some of my favorites up there. Love it. The crowds are crazy, but still, it's a lot of fun to go up there even to this day. So there you have. What do you got there, Keith?
Quick announcement. On June 25th, I will be playing drums in a Motown tribute concert. Motown, Yesterday, Today, and Forever. It is a Motown City musical review, tributes to Diana Ross, The Supremes, The Temptation, The Four Tops, on and on and on. It is going to be a great cast, a bunch of musicians. It's going to be a Stardust Dinner Theater uh, production at La Pizzeria. That's 3656 Dressler Road. You can go on Facebook, just hit Motown Tribute Concert, June 25th. So if you're in the Akron, Canton area, you want to check that out, would love to see you.
Very good. Another great trip here, guys, is taking a trip on an electric bike or a great sponsor, RPM Bike Shop. Find them on Facebook. Great electric bikes
Yes.
at an affordable price. You may also listen to me on our other podcast, Convincing Idiots, me with two other friends, Dean and Nick, doing pop culture stuff. That's what I got. Skinner,
Great show.
do you have any announcements?
Nope. We're going to see the great folks at RPM Bikes this weekend, so
Yes,
I'm looking
we
forward
are.
to it.
Collect
That's
that check.
Collect that
That's
check.
sponsored
That's right.
check.
Of course.
You've been banned for 4. You've been fined for 4 weeks, so
Oh
you
my
That's right.
don't get to see
gosh.
it.
That's
good.
right.
Hey, but real
and I
quick,
fully
I do want
expect
to
a
say
free
this.
electric bike.
Our
Go ahead.
man Fisher does a wonderful job with our videos. We want to thank him for they're just excellent the way they come out. But our podcast is done by the man, the boss, Michael Skinner Jr.
Yes.
From far, far away lands. But he works hard, puts this podcast together every week, and we want to thank him. And we want to thank the folks at WMBU.org, particularly Christopher Dominic, for letting us pollute their airwaves. So appreciate it, guys.
Yes,
Yeah, speaking of
indeed.
Mike
All right.
Jr., he was
Go
in
ahead.
town for a quick minute. Got to see him last night for a few hours. So on his way back home from his bachelor party down southeast of Columbus.
Okay.
So he him and a bunch of friends from all over all got together there in Columbus, and from what I understand, he had a great weekend. So Mike, thank you for all you do. Love you, son. So for Brian Fisher, Keith Porter, I'm Michael Skinner. We're the guys from Gen X. We appreciate you, and we will talk to you next week. Stay strong.
Oh my gosh, I recorded a whole show.
And
Wow.
cut.
Hey, this is Keith Porter here at K Porter House from It Came From GenX. We hope you've been enjoying the show, but please make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.